tonight.
Mom, I need another energy drink!
This 8-year-old son of a single parent just won't behave. And Nanny Stella is selected to set him straight.
It's time for Nanny Stella to show Eric Cartman his ways are not going to be tolerated anymore.
Now, I think that even though this is like really humorous and we're talking about Cartman here, permissive parents really do cause a lot of anxiety in their kids, and it becomes a huge power differential when you are not parenting your child. Your role as a parent is not to be your child's friend. They have plenty of friends. They need someone that's going to be a role model and help instill discipline, boundaries, and consequences. And if you don't, it ends up being like the tail wagging the dog. A household just won't function. And I think that for a lot of parents, they worry about being too harsh and too strict, but then they can often end up too permissive or needing their children to be their own support system, which is not healthy for your child.
There are going to be some rule changes around here, Eric. First of all, no video games until chores are done.
No thanks, I'd rather not.
Right, then I'm going to have to take it.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Come on. This video game is going right here on the counter until we've done some chores.
Your job as a parent is not to protect your child from the world, it is to prepare them for the world. So a great rule of thumb is this, is that if you would be embarrassed if your child did this at someone else's house or in a public place, then you don't want to have this be something that they're comfortable to do in your house either. Your job is to be able to teach them to be able to function in the world and not to become an ear sore or eyesore or a difficulty for everyone else. Children actually become really angry when they become adults if they didn't learn the basic rules of operation of how the world works and how to be a functioning member of society.
First thing we're going to do is make your bed. Eric, no, this is not acceptable.
Stop trying to bogart my Xbox, you fat...
All right, that's it. You're going to timeout.
And disrespect is never negotiable. It's never something that you want to be able to do. Remember, you're trying to teach your child how to treat other people. So if you wouldn't want them to treat a friend or someone else in their life in a certain way, then you shouldn't allow them to do that with you. Saying bad words, being disrespectful, there should be boundaries and consequences that come with that. And so you could say, well, is this someone that just has comportment disorder? Are they just oppositionally defiant? And so do they have a personality disorder? Or are they just being parented by permissive parents? One of the really good ways to be able to figure that out is, are they able to follow rules in other situations? So if they only are a terror in your home, but they are wonderful little angels at school, then they can actually control their behavior. They just don't respect you, or they know that they can get away with it. And so they might be really good at social engineering, understanding where they can get away with it and where they can't, which is actually a great sign of intelligence, but probably means that you are too permissive or too strict of a parent. You really want to hit that sweet spot in between both of them. Either ends of parenting ends up having children that end up either angry and frustrated or end up feeling anxiety and believe that they can just do whatever they want and not be able to function in society.
Time out.
Whenever you are naughty, Eric, you are going to sit on this stool for 5 minutes.
And what exactly keeps me on the stool?
It's the timeout stool. You can't get down until the time is up.
Whoa, how did I do that?
I actually love timeout. I think that timeout is a wonderful way of dealing with consequences, but it's really difficult to enforce for exactly that rule, is that if already your child does not respect you and will not listen to what you say, which is a huge red flag. What if I just force them there or lock them in their room? They're not learning self-discipline and they're not learning to respect you. But the barrier to entry for that, the way to be able to get them to respect you is a really difficult, arduous, frustrating situation, because you need to be on them while you are having them learn to respect you, which odds are, if they are already not respecting you and they've learned that the rules don't matter, then how is that going to happen? It takes a lot of reinforcement, it takes a lot of consequences, and you want to be able to know and use a currency that matters to your child. So it could be, if they're not listening to this rule, that they lose time on TV or on computer games, or they have to go to bed early. The best consequences are actually ones that are as soon as they did a certain behavior. That's why timeout can work really well. For me, I don't give a minute per age of the child or 5 minutes. I think that's just an arbitrary time. What would be more effective is they have to stay on timeout until they're calm and showing respect, whether that be 5 minutes or whether that be 30 seconds, because that's what you're wanting to teach your child. All rules in the household should be ones that are adaptive, that are respectful, and that they can apply even when they become adults. And that's why forcing them by you being a bigger person, you're going to force them in the room by strength, doesn't show them any self-control or you. It's not really teaching them anything, but that big people can lock little people into places because they're stronger, and you want them to show self-respect. And also, it's the same rule that I would give to an adult. If you are frustrated and about to yell at your boss, I would say you should give yourself a timeout, take a break, go to the washroom, breathe down, and when you are calm and in control, then you can go back into the situation. So you're actually teaching them a rule that is adaptive to when they become older. In this case, she doesn't understand what matters to Cartman to be able to actually enforce anything.
Eric, you have to stay in timeout.
No?
Come on.
And that thing of you have to stay in timeout, or there is no or. If there's no consequences, if I was able to drive through stop signs and nothing would happen to me, I would just drive through stop signs all the time. That if I don't listen, I will get a ticket is one of the things that will have me enforce a rule that I don't actually want to have to deal with. Of course, I make beautiful stops at stop signs.
This is very important. I'm getting down to eye level with Eric so that I can talk to him on his level. Eric, you need to understand why you are being punished, all right?
You see, that doesn't really work. One is, I think that a lot of times, especially more permissive parents, they talk too much to their children. They don't know when they're doing something right or wrong. You don't even have to question that. I think that we often as parents hope that we will say something that will be that light bulb moment and that they'll be like, oh, now I understand I have to learn self-discipline, and so because of that, I should be functional. Like, they want something that will make it all click. But no one's going to follow a rule that they don't want to follow. No one wants to play less video games. No one wants to have to be able to be quiet or eat healthy food unless you're really into healthy food. So doing something that someone does not want, you don't have to overspeak about what it will be. Often you want to give two choices, and you want to have a clear consequence that you can ramp up or ramp down depending on the situation. So the amount of time that you can play video games, say a reward, is a very effective way. But a lot of children, especially if they lean towards oppositional, will never ever want you to think that anything will work for them. And so because of that, they will not want you to feel any sense of control. So you will eventually give up and let them do whatever they want to do. But remember, you're doing a job. Parenting is a job, and your job is to be able to control the household. So though it will be absolutely frustrating to get to that point where they actually respect you as a parent, it is exceptionally important. And I would say life-saving. There are certain times where you need to make sure that your child will listen to you and know that you mean it. If they don't believe that you mean it or don't respect you, it's a huge issue for the home.
I'm just gonna get down as soon as you move.
Well then, I'll just have to stand right here. Oh! He spit in my mouth!
And that, right away, if someone is going to use violence or force against you, it should be a hard cut rule. That is when you should unleash all of the different rules of parenting, and they go through with no tech, no time off, fully grounded for everything. You never accept violence. You never deal with terroristic behaviors, even if in your household, even if you love them. Abuse is non-negotiable.
I've dealt with this before. We just need to use psychology on him. Eric, can I just talk to you for a quick second? Why are you so angry?
Because you took my Xbox.
Is this about more than your video game? Are you feeling angry at me because you think I'm here to change your life?
Yes, but that's not going to change anything. We spend way too much time talking to children. I think that you should understand what is happening and why people are frustrated for different rules. But in these kind of cases, it's often that the parenting situation is the one that you need to discuss. So what I would actually say is that Nanny Stella should actually be talking to Cartman's mom and asking why she feels so worried about enforcing rules on her child. Does she worry about him withdrawing his love, worry about feeling abandoned, need him from some sort of personal security? And that's why she chooses to do the easy thing selfishly to make her life easier. But often we do things because we feel bad or feel guilty, or our parents were too harsh. And so because of that, now we become too lenient. So often it is not actually the problem or the issue with the child, even though they're the ones that are expressing these behaviors. It's really that the parenting, we're not taught how to parent. We do the best we can with the tools we have at hand, but often the parent does not understand why and how to apply tools properly. And that would be a much faster way to be able to help the household.
What else are you feeling, Eric?
I don't understand why you became a nanny.
Well, because I love children.
If you love children so much, how come you're not a mommy? You're sterile, is that it? No, that's too convenient of an excuse. The truth is, nobody ever wanted to have babies with you. Isn't that it?
I love that Eric Cartman is using the psychology back on her and getting into her psychology. Actually, there are many kids that are really good at that, just really brilliant. And you can't give therapy to someone that doesn't want to be there. I dislike giving therapy to people that don't want to be there no matter what it is. I think that it's disrespectful. I don't think that it's very effective. So often in those cases, I would work with the parents, not with the child, especially if they have a lot of anger that they don't feel like expressing yet. You can't force someone to share something if it's not their time. And I think that for a lot of people, when the parents are having issues, they bring their children into therapy, when really the parents should go into therapy to be able to speak to their child and to be able to bond and figure out what's wrong. I think that that can often be more effective. Not every case, though.
What kind of monster would...
Yes, let the anger come. Strike me down while you can. But it won't make your dried up ovaries any more fertile.
That's it! I'm not doing this!
Oh, but we really need some help.
And children often do, especially our own children, know our weaknesses and will use it against us. That doesn't mean that they're monsters or sociopaths. It's just that they're effective at figuring out those little tiny keys. When you live with someone, often they know our signs of weakness. They know the pressure points to be able to hit when they're frustrated to hurt us back. And often that's because they're hurt or they're frustrated or they don't like the situation at hand. And so because of that, you made them suffer, they're going to make you suffer. And parenting is the most difficult job that you really don't get paid to do.
So tell me, what are the problems you're having with the child?
Well, he's just out of control. I mean, he never listens to me, and he pretty much runs my life.
So the child needs to learn that he's not the most important person in the house. See, I'm not looking at the child, I'm not acknowledging the child, I'm just letting the child know I'm not interested in him. See, the child thinks your world revolves around him because it does. Because everything he does gets a response from you.
Yeah, well, I don't see why... Hey!
So two things. One is that he has a point. A lot of times, especially when a child wants attention and learns that, remember that children will first want positive attention, but then they'll take negative attention because it's still attention, and then they'll take no attention, being ignored. That's actually the best consequence in a lot of situations. So if you are on the phone and your child is yelling and screaming, and then you stop talking on the phone to yell and scream at your child, you're actually giving them 100% of your attention. That is still a reward. And so you want to teach them that they can't use all of these negative effects to get your attention because you're rewarding behavior. And any behavior that you reward will increase the likelihood of them doing it. So you are feeding the negative reaction of them yelling or pestering you. No, you should not use any forms of corporal punishment to train your child. Definitely different than with dogs. And so in this case, even though it's effective in a cartoon, it is not what I would say, because what it teaches a child is that big and stronger people can hurt other people that are smaller than them in order to control their behavior. And so though it may look like they are listening, they end up feeling angry, frustrated, and that's what they're going to do to other people that are below them. Plus, it's non-applicable or adaptive to when they get older. When they become bigger than you, are you still going to do this? So they haven't learned to respect you. They've learned to fear you. And that is not what you're trying to teach them. They end up having anger issues. And when they become parents, they're going to try to hurt or hit those when they feel angry and frustrated. Plus, it shows that you don't have any self-control, that the only way that they will respect you is with uses of force. And that is really maladaptive. It also causes children that don't feel safe or trusted because they're going to be physically and emotionally hurt.
Mom, this guy doesn't... Quit it!
What is that you're doing?
Dogs show their dominance by nipping each other on the neck, but it works equally well in the child. I just use 2 fingers, nip at the child's neck. Doesn't hurt the child, just let him know I am dominant.
It's not about dominance in the household. It is, though, about hierarchy and about respect. That you should respect your parents because they're in a role of authority. So you want your children to respect authority because you need to do that. But that doesn't mean to listen to anyone that tells you to do anything either. And that's why you also want them to learn to respect the themselves. And by doing this, by forcing it and making someone feel small and that they don't matter, that is not the way that you do it. Remember, you are teaching lessons to your children when you do any action, but they're especially learning these behaviors when they feel stressed or upset. So you being calm and in control will teach them that when they're upset, they should practice being calm and control also, just by mimicry. They're remembering what you do, not what you say.
Don't look at him, just look straight ahead. He'll run out of energy soon.
Exercise actually is not a bad way. A lot of kids have a lot of excess energy, and they've been in school where they've had to control themselves for the entire day. Children are not actually meant to have to sit down and listen to someone prattle on for 8 hours a day. That is not natural to children. They are meant to run and experience things and learn by doing. So a lot of kids, especially those with excess energy, to be able to exercise and get use of that energy to let out some of their frustrations, work really well. And remember, if we go by our rules, that's adaptive. I say the same thing to adults, that you might need to burn off your anxiety or frustration through exercise. And when I say exercise, I really do mean cardio, to have your heart rate increased for an extended amount of time, which after will make you feel more calm, more centered, and it will be easier to do all the other things that you have to do in your life.
Mom, don't you love me? Can't you see I'm unhappy right now? Mom!
Good, Miss Cartman, very good.
Another interesting piece to this is, don't you love me right now? And a lot of children will use that to guilt their parents, that I'm upset, I'm unhappy. Your role is not to make your child happy. It is to teach them different rules. And sometimes that's to be able to learn to be disciplined, to learn to be able to suffer through certain chores that they don't want to do. You need to do that. And resiliency is one of the greatest character traits that will help them be successful later in life. So if they're not doing anything, they're not participating, they're not being helpful when other people need it because they don't like that, that doesn't mean that that's what you should use as your barometer to the rules of your household.
Ooh, Colonel?
I am going to eat first because that is what the pack leader does.
Give me the chicken. Give me some chicken. What are you doing? I want chicken. Give me some goddamn chicken.
No, you should not reward someone's behavior by them speaking to you disrespectfully. That's when you should ignore behavior or have a consequence to the behavior. But in this case, he doesn't need to Cartman. All he has to do is not give him what he wants. He already has a currency that Cartman listens to, which is fried chicken. Made me kind of hungry just watching it. So just by having him wait to be able to get the reward of being able to eat the thing that he really wants to have when he's calm and respectful would have been effective enough. You don't need to someone.
Mom, give me some chicken. I want some chicken, Mom.
We won't reward him until he's in a calm, submissive behavior.
God damn it, I am not a dog. Give me a chicken. Give me a chicken.
It's interesting because he says that we're not a dog, but in a lot of ways, we are the same as other animals. We enjoy things that make us feel good and reward us. We don't like things that are punitive or make us have to delay. Delaying a reward, though, is a consequence in itself. We're not great at delaying getting the things that we want. And these days, we end up getting our dopamine immediately. We're not practicing being able to wait and having self-restraint and self-control. And those are amazing skills to have and lost skills in society today. So a wonderful thing to teach yourself and your children.
I want the chicken. Chicken. Give me chicken. Give me chicken. Give me chicken. Give me chicken.
We need him to become relaxed and submissive.
I don't like the word submissive. He uses that because of the pack animals and dogs. But with children, you need them to be relaxed and in self-control and to be able to be respectful to themselves by their behavior and respectful to those that are around them. ABC, always be classy. And it's the exact same thing that I would teach and talk to with an adult about.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm cool now. May I have some chicken, please?
Oh, very good, sweetie.
Oh, no, now he's lying. You can tell from his stance he's still aggressive dominant. See?
Now, in this case, though, you want to reward behavior that is moving towards the goal. It doesn't have to be exactly on the goal. One of the best rewards, especially for children when they have oppositional defiant states or behaviors or traits in them, is to be able to give positive reinforcement by looking, time, and for some children also touch, to let them know that you paid attention, that they're trying. So it is the attempt to doing it. If you are only going to reward behavior when it is perfect, which often happens with harsh parenting, when they want it to be exactly right and they're not going to give any admission that someone's trying, they're not going to get better. If you're only going to wait until it's perfect, perfect is impossible. And so because of that, then a child will just give up. What does it matter? Just like an adult would. So anyone that's moving towards the goal, you want to acknowledge and reward that behavior, that, you know what, I really saw that you tried to do that and that was a good job. So it makes it worthwhile. And often, especially when a child is young, the parent's acknowledgement and noticing of them and attention is one of the best rewards that they can have, especially when it's in a genuine, positive way.
Now hand it over! You can't do that to me! God damn it!
I just love it. It's just so cute. Cartman's just so cute when he's just kind of laying there and just like, that's it. In this case, we would call that learned helplessness, when they've just lost the will to be able to fight. You don't need to do that, and I don't think that's an effective way to parent, but it does look really adorable when Cartman's in that position.
Caesar,
How is the child doing?
I've lost a best friend, but I've gained a son. To show my gratitude, I've got 2 tickets for you and me to see Madame Butterfly this Friday night.
Well, no, my work is done.
I cleared up the table, Mom. I'm gonna go upstairs and make my bed now.
How would you like to go with me to see Madame Butterfly Friday night?
No, that's okay.
Well, what if I took you to Kentucky Fried Chicken afterward? And then we'll go to Target and I'll buy you a Mega Ranger.
Could I perhaps have 2 Mega Rangers?
This is exceptionally common, that parents want their child to need them because they emotionally need their child, and they end up becoming parentified. They end up being the partner, the friend, the emotional leaning post to their child. And often children like this. They feel important. They like that attention. But it is exceptionally dysfunctional, and it causes this enmeshment that is unhealthy for the child's development, because a parent will often use manipulation and rewards so the child will need them, so they will never be able to leave. So they often emotionally, unconsciously, sometimes consciously, will stunt the child's growth so they won't ever leave. And so when the child starts to date or become responsible, they try to sabotage their child's development, because that means that they will abandon the parent. And that's why the parent also needs to be able to go through different types of therapy so that they can become whole. You cannot use someone else to fill the holes inside of you, especially not your child. That is selfish behavior that will end up damaging your child and make them really angry later. But this is actually really common. I've seen this happen lots of times. And you can see for Eric's mom, she's lonely and she uses Eric as her friend, her partner, and her emotional leaning post. And she's sabotaging his good behavior, his growth that would be healthy for him, for herself. That is so damaging for poor Eric. And that shows that he's capable of this, but that the dysfunction that is around him, he ended up learning to adapt to it. And so a lot of times we use maladaptive behaviors because we needed them to survive as children, but then those are the tools that we use when we're adults also, and they're no longer adaptive or helpful. If you enjoyed this video, I also have my compilation videos, as well as my videos on Arcane, The Boys, Stranger Things, Vox Machina, The Last of Us, and I also have my course on how to beat anxiety. And that's the entire reason that I started this channel. It was in the hopes that I could help make psychotherapy, therapeutic techniques more accessible to more people. I know that therapy is sometimes a very scary thing, and it isn't for everyone. Some people enjoy talk therapy, some people might enjoy music therapy, some people may want to exercise or journal or deal with things in a different way. So this channel is my way to be able to make therapy more accessible and hopefully to demystify it and make it a little bit less scary for those that may think about being able to go. And why not do it in a way that is fun through pop culture and video games and movies, and be able to discuss the different therapeutic themes or things that are happening through the media that we consume. And on Nebula also, I post my videos early, and also I post different videos that really wouldn't make it out on YouTube or have a little bit more in depth that go into the characters or different therapeutic techniques. You can also get exclusive originals like The Getaway, I'm on it, Real Science, Archaeology Quest, and trying to make sense of the X-Men cinematic universe. There are over 200 creators on Nebula, so there is a ton of original content to be able to consume. And you also get access to guest passes, so you can send to someone you care about and they get to enjoy for free some Nebula content. So if you know someone that's dealing with anxiety, you might want them to try out my course. And this is all ad-free, sponsor-free. You hate this ad? Well, you can head on over to Nebula, and if you sign up using my exclusive link below, you can get an annual plan of Nebula for $40 off, $36 a year. And by clicking on that link, it really does help support my channel. That is all early access, all extended versions, all the courses, originals from amazing Nebula creators, just by clicking on that link below. So thank you, Nebula, for your support, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So those are a little of my life lessons with Eric Cartman and the psychology of his behavior, so hopefully you can use that. And this idea actually was from my comments. Thank you so very much. I thought it was hilarious and really apt, and I think really helpful. So you can let me know your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below.